On to our very first story for today. We're looking at charcoal and its use and this traditional method, and we've talked about how people are dying out of inhalation. Also, its effects on the environment as well. We'll get to see some pictures, and then also, I'm sure, seeing the promo already, you know what we are going to be dealing with here on the Pulse. You see a woman there trying to light a fire out of this. They cook with it. Mostly, they will tell you is the most cheapest way or the most convenient way of doing things. But health-wise, is it good for us? Is it good also for the environment when there are more modern ways and more convenient ways of doing it? Looking at the sweat and the smoke inhalation and knowing that people have died as a result of this. Will we continue to use this method? Now, that's the way we've lived for many years, using charcoal or firewood for cooking in our homes. In fact, some people prefer foods prepared with wood fuel. But here's the shocking news. Our quest to prepare our meals is sending many of us into our graves. We are told that 7 out of 10 households still use firewood or charcoal. 18,000 deaths have been recorded in Ghana, and these are attributed to smoke from using charcoal and firewood. And these are rather worrying. We're told that LPG is cheaper than charcoal, but a household could save up to 15 Ghana cedis monthly by using an LPG which is cheaper than charcoal source. Now, the Center for Energy, Environment and Sustainable Development is giving us these statistics. But the deaths that are recorded are very worrying, considering many households in Ghana continue to use that method of cooking, also for commercial purposes, we know that. But the Center for Energy, Environment and Sustainable Development has been working on getting Ghanaians to move away from charcoal and firewood to LPG. They want government to step up its efforts in promoting the use of LPG rather than charcoal and firewood. They join us in the studio shortly for a conversation on this. First, here's Justice Bedo with a report to set the tone for our conversation here on The Pulse.
This is a familiar sight in Ghana, searching for firewood in a scorching sun. Women like Kathio Rhoda walk, sometimes for hours, just so they can cook. The result, depleting forests and with it, implications for human health. Traditional cooking in Ghana itself means women inhale toxic amounts of smoke, which is now responsible for about 6,000 deaths annually.
Our local stoves have open spaces, so consume a lot of firewood. So we cut a lot of trees. They emit a lot of smoke. It makes my eyes red, and when you sleep, it's like there's something piercing your eyes.
This is Cecilia Awuni and her family on the outskirts of the Upper East regional town of Navrongo. She is charging her solar cooking stove, which saves her fuel wood and emits less smoke.
This is the receiver that has to be put on the roof, usually for about 5 hours. Once it gets enough of the charging, you can turn on the system itself. Then it blows some sort of air into the base where you put the charcoal in. That means then that the level of charcoal that this one will use comes drastically down, sometimes up to 1/10 of what you could have used on the same amount of cooking. What is on top of this? It even has a charging slot, so you only need your USB, and once we insert it here, it is charging. This could be a life-changing innovation, especially for communities like this that are off-grid and usually do not have electricity access.
Now, with just small firewood, we can cook for 2 days. Even with 1 cedi worth of charcoal, we can cook. We are now early in school because we cook with ease.
Julius Awarija, founder of civil society group Urges, is behind this innovation.
And the only way we can reduce climate change impact is to reduce the volume of wood we cut in our forests for cooking. Unlike countries like Kenya, who remove tax on these stoves, our country has a huge tax burden to bring these stoves.
In northern Ghana, like many parts of the country, there is sunshine in abundance. This innovation could now be a game changer in how that is put to use. Justice Bedu, JoyNews, Navrongo.
Now, my colleague Selinam Ampo went out to speak to some people who depend on charcoal for cooking.
The reason why we use firewood to prepare the kenke is fast. The firewood is fast than the charcoal. As you can see, the fire is fast. You can use it to cook your food fast than the charcoal. The charcoal will waste your time. So that's why you can't use the charcoal to cook the kenke. That's why you use the firewood. The gas is fine, but as you can see, if you put the kenke on the fire and the gas finished, you can't. If the kenke was burning, you can't use the gas to cook it because the gas will be finished. Then you can't get some to cook the kenke again. Then the kenke will spoil.
But when you are setting the fire, a lot of smoke comes out, and you get a lot of smoke, a lot of particles from the charcoal, all that. Doesn't that affect your health?
Oh, sometimes we have been saying that practice makes a man perfect. If you have been using it, the firewood is okay, but you won't sit on it. You won't sit down there, and the fire will burn you. But you go back a little. If you set the fire finished, then you go back. So the smoke will come small, but it won't affect your body. Maybe you will be fall sick, like malaria will do this thing. But as you can see, you have been working. So as for that one there, you will be fall sick by all means. So it will affect you small. When you see that you are not feeling well, then you go to the hospital, then you take medicine.
The
reason why I use the firewood is because it's even faster than the charcoal. I don't take longer hours to prepare my food.
I won't use the gas.
The gas is expensive. That's why we do not use it. I know I can fall sick, and that's why I drink soda water or coconut water. When I drink it, it clears the smoke from my chest.
So you heard some women there on why they use these traditional methods. But Executive Director of the Center for Energy, Environment and Sustainable Development, Julius Ahiepo, says research has proven the use of these wood fuels is responsible for thousands of deaths each year. We'll get to hear from him shortly here on the Pulse, but let's get the discussion rolling. I have two wonderful lady and a gentleman here with me in the studios. Mohammed Aminu Lukumenu, he's a Chief Executive, Ghana Alliance for Clean Cook Stoves and Fuels, and also in the studios with me this afternoon, we'll be getting to speak to Madame Sarah Na Dede Agbe. She's the chairperson, Ghana Alliance for Clean Cook Stoves and Fuels. Welcome, lady and gentlemen, here on the Pulse. It's a very interesting issue, because we are all corporate sometimes. You know, when you want to cook in large quantities and you want it faster, you would rather tend to charcoal most of the time than going for LPG gas, because like the women said, it's faster and it's cheaper as well, rather than using the gas. I'll start with you, Sarah, because I'm sure he won't cook much, even though I'm sure he cooks, but you would cook. Why should we turn away from these traditional methods rather than looking at clean cooking?
All right, 5 years back, I was also cooking same way. I didn't know that there was anything wrong with using firewood and then charcoal. Okay. So I participated in the World Bank meeting on clean cooking, and the issues were brought to forth, and I got alarmed. Aside the environmental damage we get from cutting the wood, even charcoal is more, you spend so much wood in preparing, in producing charcoal, because only 30% of what you burn come out as a charcoal, 70% is waste. So this has huge implication on our forest. But aside that, you see, when you're cooking with the pots, you're cooking kinky. Yeah. The way your kitchen is, or the pot, the under of the pot, the way it is black, that's what is happening internally to you.
Seriously?
Seriously. And I was exposed to the fact that some women have cataract as a result of the cooking method they are using. The smoke they are using causes lung cancer, even reproductive issues happens as a result of your cooking method. So in fact, I did a lot of research on it, and I realized that when you look at many of the countries that are moving on, you don't go to their kitchen and you find people using wood or charcoal. They have moved away from it, because I believe they've done a lot of research and they have realized the health implication of the cooking method. That's why they have switched. And now that Ghana is a middle-income country, it is good we are discussing this. I think the time has also come for us to do a lot of awareness-raising education for us to switch from it. We wanted to bring a health expert here. The doctors will tell you what they see.
We'll definitely get on the phone lines and
the doctors will tell you what they see. They will tell you they have the evidence to support what we are saying.
Interesting. So even the soda water and the rest that the woman was talking about may not work, but we'll get to that. Mohammed, clean cooking mostly is what we are going to be talking about. What exactly, when we say clean cooking, what do we mean?
When we say clean cooking, it simply means cooking in a safe environment, free from smoke that can affect your health, and then using improved technology, that is the stove, which is more efficient, that allows you to use relatively smaller amount of energy as compared to the traditional stove. So when we say clean cooking, it means a shift from the traditional cooking environment full of smoke, full of heat affecting the ones around the cooking, and then to a situation where you cook in a smoke-free environment and heat-free environment. That saves you some money, that protects your health as well. So simply that is clean cooking.
But clean cooking, Sarah, would we ever be able to achieve this, knowing that we've done this most of our lives? Commercial people who cook in commercial quantities will tell you that, at least you heard some of them, that is the best way of doing it, faster and all that, the reasons I've given earlier, and you also heard them. Would we ever be able to attain or achieve it, clean cooking?
It's possible. We can achieve it. In 1989, we had only 28% of our citizens having access to electricity. But 30 years plus, we've been able to achieve 85%. I think if we set our mind to it, we can do it, because we have the policies, we have the plans. It's only we making the plans and the policies work. And then we can let the plans and the policies work by raising awareness. Wherever we go and we raise awareness on the issue, the women demand for the stoves. They want it, because now you don't see the health implication, but in some few years to come, you see the health implication. Many women have been into processing using the wrong cooking methodologies, and they get the money, but in some few years to come, you spend all the money on your health. And that's not what we want. We want that to change. That's why we are trying to raise awareness. We are trying to educate people. We are working with state officials, the Ministry of Energy, Energy Commission. They are all supporting what we are doing.
How difficult has it been trying to convince these women to move away from the traditional methods to clean cooking?
From my side, I would say that where the communities I have been to, where we have raised awareness, the women buy the stove. Because the moment you talk about the health implication and you show the evidence to them, that this is what happens to you per the cooking methodology or fuel that you use, they want the stove. And our challenge now is to get our manufacturers to produce the stoves in large quantity, so that we can do a nationwide awareness raising and education. There are instances we've gone, we want the stove, but we don't get the stoves.
I'm sure, Mohammed, the women may open up to you more than they will open up to Sarah, for instance, because they would want you to understand them from where they are coming. What kinds of reasons? I'm sure we've heard some of them, but what exactly do they tell you as to why they would want to rather stick to these methods than to, go clean in terms of cooking?
Thank you. Like Auntie Sarah rightly mentioned, they are not exposed to the improved technologies that we are talking about, especially in the peri-urban and rural communities. They are not exposed. They don't also appreciate the health implications, and actually they even make savings when they use the improved stove, because you use about 30% less energy compared to using the traditional cook stove. So that is the fact they don't know, and they are not able to appreciate the health effect on them, especially the amount of money they spend treating asthma and other infections. So when they actually are exposed to the reality of the situation and the fact that they make savings, and then they protect their health, and the technology is available to them, they are relatively cheaper. You can get Japa, for instance, for 25 Ghana cedis, but the traditional coal pot at Ashaman sells 30, 40 Ghana cedis. So actually, the improved technologies are cheaper. That's right.
Interesting. But they'll tell you that once you're cooking with gas, for instance, you're cooking a large pot of kinky, then your gas gets finished. By the time you would want to change the gas and then, replace it, the kinky is ishong, they will tell you.
Oh, I think I've been to some few places in Jamestown and even Accra. I'm from Jamestown. Yeah, they use gas. There's a lady out about the Braka, she uses gas for her kinky.
That's for the elites, they will tell you.
Oh, not for the elites. I don't think it's about people being educated and then realizing what they are exposing themselves to. You see, I'm sure some of these people who have switched to gas, their children have been maybe to the university, they've educated them on the implication of the technologies that they are using. That's why they've switched. And like we said, we're having a forum where we are told that it's even cheaper to use gas than the charcoal and then the charcoal. The firewood, fine, you can go to the forest and then get the firewood.
But a bag of charcoal, for instance, is about 30 cedis or so.
No, it's not.
And buying a gas of cylinder, filling the cylinder, is more than 80 cedis or so, they'll tell you.
No, but the number of months you use it. I am using the improved technologies in my home. And I can tell you that before then I was using the metal coal pots. You buy the charcoal and then it's done in a month. But now with the Japas and some of the improved technologies, I can have a bag of charcoal that can take me to about 2 months. So it works. It works. We only have to educate our citizens and we have to move from it. For firewood, they'll say it's free. But as a country, are we also looking at the cost implication of we losing our forest as a result of charcoal and the use of firewood?
So I've heard you both talk about improved stoves. At this point, I'm very interested in it. Mohammed, what's this improved stoves you've been talking about?
Yes, the improved stove is one step ahead of the traditional stove. Traditionally, you pick 3 stones and you construct a stove, or the traditional coal pot we have, or the wood stoves. But now more effort has been put in using improved metal and then clay linings, ceramic lining, like in the Japan technology. So the stove is able to contain the heat within it, and then is able to contain a chimney is constructed in terms of the wood stove to channel the smoke far away from the cooking environment. So that is the distinction. And this there are companies, it takes a lot of research, and this improved stove go through testing. We have 2 testing institutions. We have the Institute for Industrial Research in Accra, and then Technology Consultancy Center in Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Ghana has gazetted the standards for the cook stove at the Standards Authority. So the stove we talk about are submitted to this institution for testing to ensure that they are efficient in terms of emission, energy saving, and in terms of smoke emission. And when they pass to the Tier 2 level, then they are certified for use.
Yeah,
so help me clear
the
okay.
What he said. In addition to the improved technologies, we also have the clean technologies like the LPG, the ethanol stoves, and the biogas. They are very clean.
Okay, so I'm sure, let's talk a bit about the improved stoves, then we come to the other ones. Sarah, so does it still use charcoal? What does it use?
Yeah.
The improved ones?
Yeah, I believe that in life, whatever you are doing, you have to improve upon it. That's the beauty of development. Development is that my forefathers used this technology. We have come, we are improving upon the technology. So the improvement, like you said, now we have the clean liners in it. And the whole idea of the improvement is to minimize the emission level and also make the stove more efficient. So if you use maybe a bag of charcoal in a month, the improved stove will assist you use that same bag of charcoal maybe in 2 months. In 2 months, yeah.
Oh, interesting. So that's interesting. Very, very interesting. I'm very interested in that because so how accessible is this? These improved stoves? Can we just get it? Because I'm hearing about it for the very first time. Pardon me, pardon my ignorance, but I'm hearing it for the very first time. Is it, how accessible is it?
Oh, I'm sure you've seen it in the market. Yeah, it is in the market. Especially there are some that are very common, like the Japa.
Okay, so that's also
the Toyola,
part of it. Okay.
The Cookmates, the Holy Cook. They are very common. And I should say that as a country, we have the skill. There are people in country that are producing the stoves. We have people in country that are producing. When you go to Kokompe, you go to Timber Market, you go to Ashiama, you go to the northern region, Ashanti region, we have artisans producing the stoves. So they are on the market, just that we have to support them to upskill what they are doing.
But is it able to accommodate large cooking, like cooking in commercial quantities? Like you need to cook plenty, big pots. Do we have such
we have
large quantities?
We do. We have very big gas stoves that are
I know we have very big gas stoves, but these improved stoves, for instance,
we do.
Do we have big ones for big pots?
We have them. Some manufacturers have them. We have the big ones.
But then why is it so difficult for us to move towards it? Is it that we don't want to accept change? What really is the issue, Mohammed? Do you know?
Yeah, with the improved stove for commercial cooking, we have the commercial stove like Auntie Sarah was mentioned, and then the institutions for senior high and other restaurant food vendors, they are there, and then they have been certified as well. The availability at the moment with the large commercial stove, they are largely fixed at the site of the cooking. So there is the effort required for the artisan to move to site and construct them. And actually the knowledge, the information about it has not gone up. Those who heard about it get interested, and then they are willing to adopt it, and we are able to assist them, link them with the producers, and they get it.
I'm very interested in clean cooking at this point. I'm sure we'll get to talk about it more, but let's bring in Professor Julius Fobi on the phone line. He's the Associate Professor of Environmental Health and Head of Department of Biological, Environmental and Occupational Health Sciences at the University of Ghana School of Public Health. Thank you very much for your time here, Prof, on Pulse. So help us. Madam Sarah tried to give us some of the health implications, but you are working in that area. What really are the health implications in using these traditional methods of cooking?
Okay, so cooking as you mean traditional methods, as in like use of
as in using the firewoods and the charcoals.
Yeah, firewood, charcoal, and sometimes cow dung. This is what we term technically as biomass fuel. That is fuel from biological residues like charcoal, as you have rightly said, firewood. The immediate health implication is that it affects respiratory health. That is, you can have coughing, you can exacerbate your breathing rate, and you can could lead to chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. But how this happens is that the use of these traditional fuels tend to affect indoor quality. And I mean, using them at household level, and it also depends on, level of ventilation, the type of housing structure that you are having, type of kitchen environment that you have. So you tend to produce smoke from these fuels, and the smoke actually deteriorates or sort of degrades the indoor air quality. And so people breathe this, and this is what we often say, that because women and children, are the most affected because of the fact that women spend a lot of time near the kitchen cooking and this, and so they take in the brunt of, the effect of this, adverse effect of this, traditional fuels. Because you breathe this in, what the smoke does have is, it has what we call PAH, polyaromatic hydrocarbons, and these are really toxic and persistent organic compounds that are associated with the burning process. And so when you release that, you tend to breathe this, and it goes deep into your lungs, and it goes to alveoli, the breathing region where your blood is in contact with the air, oxygen exchange zone. That is the alveolar region. So this tends to cause inflammation in the lungs, and this can lead to lung cancer and many other illnesses. Apart from the direct effect of causing some, if it have a history of asthma, or you are prone to getting asthma, this can actually exacerbate it. And apart from that, because studies have shown that mothers, people who are exposed to air pollutants from biomass fuels tend to have, it also affects the birth outcomes. You can give birth to children with low birth weight, and then low birth weight is not desirable for children's growth and development, because you tend to have, less than critical weight for age, and this is a serious health outcome.
But we've heard some women say that when they go close to this, or when they use this method, because they know, at least to an extent, they know about the health implications. So they use soda water, for instance. They drink soda water, coconut water, and it flushes the smoke out of their system. Is that even true?
That is not true, because the traditional passage of water is through just your throat and through it doesn't go through
the lungs.
The trachea, where, or your airway doesn't go through. It just goes through directly through your alimentary canal. That's where water passes through. The water, when you take in water, it doesn't go through your the airways. And how will that be cleansing? It is, this is what they believe. It may be just their belief, that it does that, but this has no scientific basis.
To the extent that our grandmothers, our mothers use this system all this while, and today we are now hearing that it has these health implications, how did they live through it then?
Of course, if you say your grandmother, if you were thinking about health in 50 years ago, every time we have new knowledge, and as science advances, we tend to understand things differently. And if you were to compare people who lived in those times compared to now, we have better health. But of course, people, what was let me ask a typical question. What was the average lifespan for an adult woman at the time? So people were dying younger, people were dying maybe at ages that were 50, maybe 50, 49, and now people are living longer, and it is because of new understanding that some of these environmental causes of diseases. So we tend to be able to put in intervention, like if you like, people have one intervention people have been talking lately is cook stove, improved cook stove, and that it releases less pollutants into the briefing region of people who are mothers. So, I mean, if you compare the average number of years we live now compared to, like, say, our grandmothers, as you said, it's much higher than in those days.
Okay. So how about when you use these methods, the argument, some advance is that, how about when they use it in an open air area, not in an enclosed area in the kitchen, for instance? It still has the same health implications?
Yeah, because, I mean, there are two types of air pollution that we have defined. One is ambient air pollution, which is air pollution in the open area.
Okay.
The other is indoor air pollution. But air pollution generally affects us the same way. So whether it is you get your pollution source from human environment or indoor environment, it's the same. But of course, the argument is that for outdoor, because there's aeration and the this distribution or dispersion of the air pollutant is rapid, and so that might be different, but in the long time, it's the same thing.
Okay. Professor Julius Fobi, we're grateful for your time. I'm sure at this point we are all convinced that we have health implications for using these traditional methods. We're indeed grateful. He's at the School of Public Health. He's the Associate Professor of Environmental Health and Head of Department of Biological, Environmental and Occupational Health Sciences at the University of Ghana School of Public Health. We're grateful for your time, sir. I still have Sarah and Mohammed with me in the studios. We're talking about clean cooking. But before, I'm sure you have Sarah is smiling. She has a lot of comments on that we want to add to what Professor says. But the Director of Renewable and Alternative Energies at the Ministry of Energy, Wisdom, Ahiataku Togobo, has been speaking about what the ministry is doing to promote the use of LPG throughout the country.
Yes, the ministry is taking to reduce the impact of charcoal and firewood is to promote the LPG fuels. And this is being done with our sector agency, the National Petroleum Authority. I'm sure you are aware the government is making moves towards introducing the cylinder recirculation model. And we believe that if this is done, we can get LPG across to all parts of the country, just like Coca-Cola is available everywhere. But the poor majority who are unable to invest in some of these end-use devices, what the government is doing is to give out some of these cylinders through a subsidy scheme.
Wow, I just saw some pictures there. That's very intriguing also. You even have standing ones.
We do. Yeah.
Interesting. Sarah, so how come we haven't heard about this? People would say that if there are all these methods there, how come most of us have been kept in the dark on it?
Let's apologize for keeping people in the dark. But that's why now we've realized that our major challenge is education and the awareness reason. So we want to do that. As GACO, we want to do that. I know government is also very much interested in doing that.
Are we doing this in collaboration with government?
We work in collaboration with government. I always say that government is the father of the land. We are all supporting whatever government is doing. So we have a very good relationship with the Energy Commission, the Ministry of Energy, local government. Even the minister was working for our program yesterday. Ministry of Planning. We work closely with them. So whatever we are doing, they support us, and we are also working in support of whatever direction they give to us. So in the coming years, you will see more of the awareness raising and then the education. But our manufacturers, that the supply also needs support. Because when you raise awareness and the supply isn't there, it brings your awareness efforts to zero. So we need to balance demand and supply.
I've seen also that we've even used cow dungs and all, Mohammed.
Yes, for cooking. And then we now use waste. We are turning waste into energy. Crop residue, sawdust, coconut waste. All of these are processed into pellets and briquettes. Those are alternative fuel rather than using only charcoal and fuel wood. And so over the next 5 years, GACO has committed to deploying 5 million improved stove to 4 million Ghanaian households, so that when we are targeting by 2030, there is universal adoption of clean cooking in Ghana.
I'm hoping these homes will include mine, though. But of course, you are telling us that it is not that expensive, so we can all afford it. So I think a time has come for all of us to go clean in terms of cooking. But you're saying it's available on the market. Anywhere in the market we can get these stoves.
It is. You can also call us if you're not getting it. The CEO will leave his number. You can call GACO if you're not getting it. We work with the manufacturers. They can connect you to the manufacturers, or we can get it from the manufacturers and then bring to you.
Definitely. I will all go clean. Thank you very much for your time here on the post. Sarah Nadi Diagbe is chairperson, Alliance for Clean Cook Stoves and Fuels. We also had Mohammed Aminu Lukumanu, who is the chief executive, Ghana Alliance for Clean Cook Stoves and Fuels. I'm grateful for your time, ladies and gentlemen. We'll definitely do more talking off air.